What is going on, people of YouTube? My name is Kurtyoy. Welcome back to the FPL preview, where we talk about the upcoming game week, what players I suggest, the games of the week for you to look out upon, and also FPL Guidance's tip of the week. Now, I've been pretty absent, but hopefully this will be the return. I've got an update video coming tomorrow. Hopefully you can tune in for that. I'll give a few details away with how I'm going to cope with the summertime. There's nothing to talk about football-wise. What shows will I have? Well, I'll have answers for you then. But for now, we've got the preview. Let's head into things, starting off, as always, with our games to watch. Of course, we can't go a games to watch with Chelsea versus Arsenal in the billing without talking about Chelsea versus Arsenal. It's a massive game. Can Arsenal stop their mid-season, crash? It's happened again, a bit later than November, but it's a crash. And I predict another loss against Chelsea. And it could be the end of Arsenal's title race completely. If Chelsea win, I see them out completely. However, Arsenal have got an outside chance. They've got the likes of Sanchez, Iwobi's in form. Who knows what can happen? You also got Hull versus Liverpool. Hull got a 0-0 against Old Trafford, or at Old Trafford, I should say. And Liverpool only conceded one against Chelsea and only scored one against Chelsea. So, who knows? I think it could be, a hard-fought tie, that one. But I don't think Hull will go down without a fight. You also got Southampton versus West Ham. Jose Font returning to his old stomping ground. I'm sure there will be a few cheers there, although it did help him out, quite a lot in his time there. Didn't start well for West Ham. His career at Man City, 4-0 loss. But who knows what that score could be. It could go either way. Too close to call that one. Finally, we go on to Sunday. The last game of the game week is Leicester versus Manchester United. I predict that one to be a bit fiery. Now, you could say, Man United are gonna win that easily. When Man City came to Leicester, they lost 4-2 because he did 4 goals and 4 pretty easy goals. But that was with Bravo and Stones, to be fair. But it's also the fact that against bigger teams, I feel like Leicester will have better games. And Man United's 0-0 against Hull, so again, it could be all open for that one. We're going to start off with our goalkeepers, and first of all, we've got Hugo Lloris. Who else to join in? He does currently on FPL, as of recording this at least, have a knock, but hopefully he'll be fully fit come the weekend. He's £5.5 million, and Tottenham, well, they face off against Middlesbrough, one of the the worst attacking teams in the division. They got rid of their best striker, Jordan Rhodes, for Wednesday, and I feel like Tottenham could easily get a clean sheet here. Don't know how well they'll do attacking after 0-0 against Sunderland, but I feel like they'll definitely get a clean sheet. You got Heaton, if not a clean sheet for Burnley against Watford, then 3 bonus points and about 20 saves. You also got Hennessy. The Samuel Allardyce era has begun. Maybe it's worth risking him. I did say before, don't risk Crystal Palace, defenders. But who knows? It could be better. But I'm saying, watch out. It's £4.3 million. That's the only reason why I've selected him. But yeah, watch out. They're not entirely, Fig Sam. They've still got a few months of changing to do. You also got Ben Foster. Chucking Foster in there against Stoke. I'm not sure. It's a bit of a risky one. I would, veer away. But he's a pretty safe pair of hands. And West Brom have got a decent few fixtures lined up. And now we go on to our tip of the week. FPL Guidance at tips_FPL on Twitter gives us tip of the week every single week on the preview show. And this week, the reason it's this early in the show, it's to do with defenders, but not only defenders, Everton defenders. He tweets me in the DMs saying, tip of the week goes to Everton's defence. Coleman looks the best option at the moment due to his attacking potential, but Baines being on penalties and Holgate and Funes Mori's cheaper prices also make them viable. Reasons for this are the fixtures. In the next 6, they've got 4 home games against Bournemouth, Sunderland, West Brom and Hull, Middlesbrough and Tottenham being the 2 away games, and also the fact they will have no blank game weeks unlike most of the big clubs. It's a very big point to make. You've got to be looking at those blank game weeks when suggesting people to go through. The 6 teams are Bournemouth, West Ham, Everton, West Brom, Hull and Swansea that won't have any blank game weeks in game week 28, so be looking at that most definitely. But yeah, very good advice. I've got Baines in my team. Chose Baines a couple of weeks ago over Coleman, and Coleman has ripped it up since then, so not good, but yeah, definitely good advice. Speaking of defenders, we move on to defenders now, with Patrick Van Aanholt kicking things off. Now, I said, don't go with Scott Dan, but Patrick Van Aanholt is a different beast. I hope he'll play. And choosing people that have just signed for clubs, you never know if they're going to play. But Van Aanholt for £5 million, if he can, if Big Sam can kick Crystal Palace into gear and getting those clean sheets, attacking potential could really get Van Aanholt into the scoring books, and he could be a really, really key player. And of course Coleman, I'm not going to spend my time talking about Coleman, because need I say more, really. You got Walker as well. Walker in there because Rose has a knock. I've put Lloris in there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure really if Rose is. I think Rose is probably a little bit worse off, but Lloris probably is more likely to play. But Walker's in there because he's a definite fix. £6.2 million. Definitely worth the money. You also got Ward from Burnley. Now, I did mention in the review, Michael Keane looks like a good prospect, but Ward at £4.4 million gets those clean sheets when Burnley have those 0-0s or the 1-0s like they did against Leicester and also Manchester United earlier on this season. And we're leaving things with Chris Brunt. Only 5 this week, so I wasn't confident on 6th, but Chris Brunt at £5.1 million. He's got attacking potential. He's also in a pretty sturdy West Brom defence. Against Watford, I feel like it could be a scoreline to 0. Against Stoke, not against Watford, against Stoke. Even so, I think it could be a scoreline to 0 in favour of West Brom if they get their act together and defend like they know how to defend. But yeah, so it's a difficult one to predict because of how different, how skew-whiffy things went last game week. But those are my defensive picks. Moving on to midfield, we've got some absolute Stephen Corkers in here. Starting off with Iwobi. Now, 5.9. I mentioned it in the review. I mentioned it again now. £5.9 million shouldn't really buy you into any of the big six's attacks. But with Iwobi, it does. £5.9 million. He's playing consistently. He's in decent form. He shouldn't be dropped anytime soon. And for me, I think he should, really be given the chance by Wenger. He's got another few game weeks in him, and if he continues performing, he's got to grab a goal, albeit a pretty pointless one against Watford. Hopefully he'll be a decent choice. If you haven't got any Arsenal players or can't afford Sanchez, Iwobi could be that ticket into a very, very lucrative attack. You've also got Sterling. He hasn't been rotated much in the last few game weeks, so I think he could be a good bet at £7.7 million. Miralas as well is, really kicking things into gear at Everton. It's about time. He really had a rocky period when he first started, but now he looks as if he's reaching his full potential. You've also got Zaha coming back from the Africa Cup of Nations. He could be really, really vital for Crystal Palace when they get up against those tight games where there's one goal in it a game, one goal maybe in the entire 90 minutes. Zaha could be the one providing that goal, maybe even making those sort of games into 2-goal games. Who knows? He also got Snodgrass, £5.7 million, and he could be a permanent fixture for a West Ham attacker. If he can get balls into Andy Carroll, it's constant assist. He's got a decent long shot as well. I feel like it could be a really, really good bet for him. And also last pick, Sigurdsson, because he has, as we found out, no blanks. So £7.2 million. He's relatively involved in every attack, so I'd say keep an eye on him. And lastly, I've got the attackers, and like the defenders, it's only 5 because I couldn't really pick a 6th and I didn't want to just chuck one out there for the sake of it. But starting off, we've got that man Jesus again. He was in the review, he's in the preview. Scored 11 points on against West Ham. He's got a decent game week coming up this week against Swansea, who albeit have changed their ways and looking better, but they have still got a tendency to concede a few goals. And I feel like Jesus could really, really put him to the sword. You also got Christian Benteke. Crystal Palace come up against Sunderland. I feel like aerial threat could really be a big thing. Benteke could provide that. You also got Kane, £11.2 million for Tottenham. Big risk because he didn't do anything against Sunderland, but I feel like against Middlesbrough he's bound to score. Though Middlesbrough's defensive record is pretty good, I feel like Spurs will breach it a few times. You also got Lukaku coming in. Again, no blanks whatsoever for Lukaku, so he's definitely a good bet for your teams. I've got him in mind. I won't be transferring him out anytime soon. You also got Carroll as well for West Ham United. Again, no blanks for him. £6.3 million in decent form. Yes, he didn't really turn it on against Man City, but who did and who has this season? And West Ham faced off against Southampton, a game which they've lost Font to West Ham. Defence that is looking a bit patchy at the moment, and I feel like Carroll could take full advantage of that. But that happens to be that for this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. And also apologies if it's a bit choppy. My technique is probably worse than when I left. It's been a month since I talked to a camera. I do stutter my words quite often. So yeah, I do apologise if I get things wrong. It'll just take a few weeks just to get back into the swing of things. So I can only apologise for that. But thank you all for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Let me know. Have I picked any players that you are considering to bring into your team, or have you got a few players I may have missed out on? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.